Waterford.
Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Liz Reddy. Today's top stories. 2 incidents in which property in Waterford City was damaged by fire overnight are being investigated by Gardaí. The government's being urged by a Waterford TD to start planning for the possibility of a united Ireland. A Waterford councillor says something radical needs to be done to tackle the crisis faced by beef farmers. And in sport, the GAA said there's learnings to be taken from yesterday's ticketing issues ahead of this weekend's All-Ireland football semi-finals. Gardaí in Waterford City are investigating 2 incidents in which property was damaged by fire overnight. A petrol bomb was thrown at a house in Dominic's Place, while a car was set on fire in Grandstown Park. WLR's Sinead Ahern reports.
Gardaí are carrying out house-to-house inquiries and checking on CCTV in the Dominic's Place area. It's after a house was attacked at 3:45am, with the owners believing it's a case of mistaken identity. Damage was caused to the exterior of the property, including the front door and guttering. The occupant of the house, Pat O'Brien, told Damien Tiernan on Daisha Today that 3 petrol bombs were thrown at the front of the house.
It's about 3:10 this morning. Alan woke up, he's in that room in there. You see the fire. He came in, he got the tools up there a bit to get out of the house. He said there's a fire, so I opened the door and see the door on fire. We get the fire brigade. No, I said, I turned some water on it, put it out. 3 petrol bombs. They were on at the door. One there, and another one inside here.
Garda forensic teams are examining the scene at the moment. Pat O'Brien says the person or persons who threw the petrol bombs escaped on a motorbike.
Whoever done this was out to do real damage to it. That's only new door and windows went in there about 3 months ago. It's if it had to go through the window, Alan was in that room there. And we think it's a motorbike, someone on a motorbike. It's attempted murder for me, that's the way I looked at it. Because when one is bad enough, but 3, the neighbours that were out there at 3:30 this morning, and I have to thank the Garda. They're on the spot straight away, When we put out the fire, we called the Garda straight away.
A car was damaged by fire in an earlier incident at Grandstown Park. It happened at Sylvan Drive at 12:15am. Witnesses reported hearing a motorbike rev its engine outside the house around the time of the incident before taking off. Gardaí have not yet established if there's a link between the 2 incidents. They're appealing for witnesses or anyone with information to contact them on 051 305 300.
Sinn Féin's accused the government of being afraid of a debate on a united Ireland. The Taoiseach says now is not the right time for a border poll to take place. Speaking in Belfast last night, he said a debate on the issue could be divisive. But Waterford Sinn Féin TD David Culnan believes people should get to have their say on Irish unity if there's a no-deal Brexit.
In my view, a majority of people in the south and a growing number of people in the north are in favour of Irish unity, and it makes sense. So rather than being afraid of the debate, which is I think what the government are at the moment and some others, they should embrace it and they should engage with it.
Today marks 40 years since the murder of Eamon Ryan in Tramore in County Waterford. The 32-year-old father was shot dead in front of his 3-year-old son during an IRA bank robbery in the town. The civil servant happened to be in the way as the Republican gang robbed the AIB bank. 2 men, Eamon Nolan and Aaron O'Connell, were given life sentences for the murder. A local IRA man, Bill Hayes, was a getaway driver during the raid. He served 9 years in jail. In 2013, Bill Hayes apologised to the Ryan family on WLR's Daisha AM.
I'm prepared to offer regret for what happened on the day. It was an awful tragedy. We were all young men at the time. I don't think that it occurred to any of us that anyone would be killed on the day, and it certainly wasn't the intention. It was an awful time during our history because of the troubles in the north, and that was the reason for the bank raid in Tramore. It was directly linked to that. I know it hugely affected the Ryan family, and I take this opportunity to offer my regret, deep regret, and sympathy and apologies to Eamon Ryan's family for what they've suffered down through the years.
Malaysian police are reportedly analysing fingerprints found in a cottage as part of the search for an Irish teenager. Nora Quara hasn't been seen since Sunday morning. Sean O'Regan reports.
The search for Nora Quara is now into its 4th day, with police not ruling out a possible criminal element. The 15-year-old who has special needs went missing from the Doosan Resort on Sunday, which is about 63 kilometres south of the Malaysian capital Kuala Lumpur. She is the daughter of an Irish-French couple who have lived in London for the last 20 years. Yesterday, Royal Malaysian Police said they intensified their search but hadn't found any evidence of criminality. However, it's reported today that they are analysing fingerprints found in a Forest Resort cottage where Nora was reported missing. The Deputy Chief of Police declined to give further details on the investigation. Nora's family believe she has been abducted and say she's not capable of taking care of herself. The search, involving more than 200 people, is now focusing on riverbeds near the resort after it was extended into dense jungle yesterday afternoon.
A Waterford councillor says negotiations are the only way to end protests by beef farmers. They've been on the picket line since the start of last week over the low price they're receiving for their animals. Only one lorry carrying cattle has been allowed into factories on the Waterford-Kilkenny border since the protests began. Rathcormac-based Councillor Shawnee Power says he doesn't see the farmers ending their pickets anytime soon.
Look, I think farmers are here for the long haul there, and that unless they need to come out from Eastern Industrial Ireland to come out and speak to the farmers. And it is a protest and a peaceful protest, but look, we just have to get our points across. Look, there's sheer frustration. You can see that here as well, people on the ground.
Green Party councillor Jodie Power has been attending pickets over the past week.
From my own village of Cheek Point, I can see how things are dying down there. And I think if the farmers are gone, people can't make a living in the rural countryside of Ireland, then rural Ireland is gone. It's absolutely a shame that it has come to this, that the farmers are not being listened to. There seems to be that the beef factories, the processors, have all the power in their hands, and they put conditions on the farmers to sell their cattle to them, and they're really onerous. They're in a lose-lose-lose situation here unless something radical is done.
All stakeholders in the Altogether Now Festival have promised to review the event's traffic management plan. Over 22,000 people attended the event on the Curramore estate in Portlaw, but roads approaching the site came to a standstill on Friday, leading to people being stuck in their cars for up to 7 hours. Festival promoter Will Rolfe said they understand the frustration of those who travelled and they need to make sure that it doesn't happen again. They also thanked people in the local communities who came out to offer assistance. Gardaí say they'll meet with the organisers to analyse the difficulties which arose and identify what can be done in the future. Licensing authority Waterford City and County Council said they'll undertake a comprehensive review to take action to minimise the impact of traffic on the routes to Curramore for future events. Carl Shields' final scenes will be shown on Fair City tonight. The actor who played Robbie Quinn in the popular soap died suddenly in Waterford last month. Tonight's episode will pay tribute to a man described as a wonderful actor and friend. A status yellow rainfall warning is in place for Leinster and Munster for tomorrow and Friday. Met Éireann says heavy rain will spread from the south on Thursday evening. Accumulations of 25 to 40 millimetres will occur over a relatively short period of time and spot flooding is likely. The warning is in place from 7 p.m. on Thursday until 7 a.m. on Friday.
WLR Sport.
The GAA's Director of Communications, Alan Milton, says there's learnings to be taken from yesterday's ticketing issues ahead of this weekend's All-Ireland football semi-finals. The association are set to meet with sellertickets.ie after many supporters were left frustrated while attempting to buy tickets for Saturday's clash between Mayo and Dublin. More tickets have gone on general sale today, and Milton says demand put pressure on the system yesterday.
We will be looking into some complaints that people lost their place in the queues. The reason why there's a queue system is that people can get onto the system and they're not just met with a brick wall when they try to purchase tickets. But the sheer demand was probably the greatest demand we've had for a semi-final since Dublin played Mayo back in 2015, and gives you some insight into the allure and the attraction of the fixture.
Waterford FC will head to Kildare on Sunday to play Maynooth University Town in the first round of the FAI Cup. Having lost to Derry City on Monday in the EA Sports Cup semi-final, the Blues will be keen to make progress in a competition they've not won since 1980. Maynooth manager Barry Prenderville says it's the biggest day in the history of his club.
We're looking forward to it. Like you say, it's a big day for our club, probably our biggest game to date. Now, we did play Cork City away last year in the FAI Cup in the last 16. It was a big day for us as well. But the fact that it's a home game and the local kids and the local team in our club get to watch a game at the Standard, it's a big day. It's also the 50th anniversary of Maynooth Town Football Club. So it's a big day all round.
Kick-off at the Rathcoffey Road ground is 3 p.m. and Matt Keane will have regular updates from the game here on WLR. Dundalk are in Slovakia to face Slovan Bratislava in the first leg of their Europa League third-round qualifier this evening. Vinnie Perth's side are again without Robbie Benson, who's still recovering from a rib injury, having dropped out of the Champions League last week. Lily-White striker Patrick Hubin says they're targeting a place in the group stages.
It's not going to be easy. We're against a very high-quality opposition again, and you do have to take a game as it comes, and just hopefully we come out with a positive result on Wednesday against such a high quality side, and hopefully we can bring a positive result home and keep the dream alive. And just looking forward to it. It would be a great feeling to obviously play in Europa group stages, and we're halfway there.
Wexford Youths have lost 3-1 to Vlasnia of Albania in their Women's Champions League qualifier. Newcastle boss Steve Bruce has again apologised to Sheffield Wednesday fans for the way he left the club. He resigned at Hillsborough after just 6 months in charge at the Championship side. Bruce says Newcastle was an opportunity he couldn't pass up. Crystal Palace are closing in on the signing of Republic of Ireland midfielder James McCarthy from Everton. He's expected to cost Roy Hodgson's side around £3 million. And following the history-making exploits at Galway last week, One Cool Poet is set to run on Irish Champions Weekend next month. Matthew Smith's 7-year-old became just the second horse to win 3 races in a week at the Galway Festival, following in the hoofprints of Busted Tycoon. Smith says he'll run in a premier handicap at either Leopardstown or the Curragh. And there's an 8-race card at Sligo this afternoon, where the first is off at 2:05. That's the latest on WLR. Our next bulletin is at 2.